There's been times in my life where I've had to do that. I can list dozens of times. Not obviously nothing to that magnitude, but it was relatable, and I really appreciated it. And there was a lot of good fans that came. Everything came from. You got to see people legit concerned for Andrew, and then there was some nasty stuff that was said, and I'm like, oh. This is why I do like the 2-point conversation. I just want to talk with the good fans. I don't want to talk with the shitheads who are going to bury a player over a personal decision. You just can't do that.
Right.
Especially sitting on this side of the television set or this side,
you have
this
no
side
idea
of the
what they're going on.
You have no
through.
idea. And I understood it, with Andrew Luck. The dude's been through so many injuries and this and that because he had an incompetent general manager who didn't put a quality offensive line around him. And, he got hurt. And I could imagine having to be hurt and try and rehab and work through pain. What is this now? 3? It would have been 4 seasons in a row?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Why put yourself through that? Dude's got a wife. Dude, no, I think pregnant or just had a baby. I want to say pregnant. I don't know. The reports are all over the place on that one, but yeah, I don't blame him for not wanting to mentally exhaust himself anymore.
Yeah,
that goes a little piece of advice for anybody listening to this. If you're doing something that doesn't make you happy anymore, and that mentally drains you and does more harm than good, stop doing it. Please stop doing it. There may be a day where I get exhausted with podcasting, completely done with podcasting, and I'll know when I'm ready to be done.
Right.
Done it with pro wrestling. I've done it with amateur wrestling. I've done it with so many other hobbies and things that I generally cared about that shit just wore on me.
Right.
So I completely sympathize and relate with it. And very happy for Andrew Luck. I think it'd be great if he ever came back, but I hope he doesn't for his own sake.
Yeah. I mean, how what really did it for me, how I knew, I was like, this shit is real. Not the fact that he's retiring is real, just what he's going through is real. This man turned down or pretty much gave up millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.
Well, the nice thing, too, the Colts let him keep some of his guaranteed
money. And they did let him keep that.
Yeah.
But even so,
he would have had way more.
Right. He would have made much more money. And that goes to show, somebody, to turn down that much money, that amount of money, because you are mentally and physically beat up over this game. He fell in love with football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I commend him for that, man. You had enough balls, like you say, you had enough balls to go and I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
As much as I love this team, as much as I love this game, it's just that this isn't fucking mentally stable. It's not good for my mental health.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do to myself if I continue down this path.
Yeah.
Type of deal. You know what I'm saying? That's how I took it.
Look at Rob Gronkowski right now. It's another case, too.
Yeah.
It's not to cut you off, but he's another one. You just said the other day he thinks he had 20 concussions in the NFL. 20 concussions. He was miserable. He said it hurt to wake up. He hated waking up, hated football, and he said, there was a couple times where he was that close to doing something, not good.
Some scary shit, man.
It is. It is scary. And people like the CTE question, I think it's an important, with CTE, it's an important discussion. I love football. I love professional football. I love the NFL. I love the way it's portrayed. Everything. It brings a lot of joy to my life, and a lot of connections with people like yourself, and my family, and But I want to see these players have long careers, and that that goes so much further than anything else. It's a tough discussion that nobody wants to have, but. Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of the players realize the risks too a little bit going into it, but still, it's an important discussion.
Yeah, that's a big fact, man. That CTE is no joke.
No,
it's no joke. Who was it? Junior Seau.
Yep.
Yeah. Junior Seau when he wrote that letter, his suicide note, saying why he did what he did, and I want to donate my brain because this is why I'm doing this. And I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah,
and you really think about it. First of all, the NFL dropped the ball on that shit with the
studies.
100%. With the studies with that one there.
Your former lineman, John Urschel, wrote a letter. I think he retired at 26. He's actually from Buffalo. I don't know if you remember that.
John Urschel's from Buffalo?
Yeah,
I did not know
he
that.
He graduated from Canisius High School. I threw against him in shot put my senior year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to John Urschel. Then he went to Penn State. He's a fucking math magician genius.
He's so smart.
Fucking
He's
genius.
so smart. But he was like, he did research on it, and he's like, okay, I'm done.
It's not worth it.
I'm not risking my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that kind of what we were taught, though, when we were younger, too? Don't risk the body if you don't have to with the career. You know, you use your head.
Right. And that's what he did.
That's what I was always, preached.
Yeah, when he retired, and I liked him as a football player. I thought he was a really good interior lineman for us. And I thought he's a quality backup or starter for us. But when he retired, I was like, yeah, I kind of figured he retired because when we first drafted him, they was like, oh yeah, he graduated, 3 years, and he has his PhD or going for his PhD in mathematics.
Genius.
And he's a rocket scientist, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, why is this dude playing football? Like, I get the money aspect of it there, so you can pay off your student loans and stuff if you have some, but
yeah.
I don't know. I never understood that. But yeah, when he retired and he explained why he retired, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of players in the NFL retiring early. Like, I think back to just like a name that popped in my head was like Glenn Coffey. Do you remember him? The running back for San Francisco?
Yep.
Yeah, he played one season in the NFL and then the next year he retired.
Yeah.
And he's saying, the reason why he's retiring is like, he's got a different guy got a different calling for him and blase, whatever the reason was.
Yeah.
As another player for San Francisco, it was like the linebacker that retired early. I think it's like Chris Borland or something like that. Another San Francisco player, Anthony Davis, I think it was, or the right tackle for his name was Davis. I remember he had stepped away for a little while.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about.
I think the Jaguars linebacker was Telvin Smith. I think that's his name. He stepped away after, like in their primes.
I mean, even some of the bigger name stars too, like Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. And there's been a host of others,
Seriously.
since then. And it's like it stinks, but again, it's not our life.
Yeah, exactly. I respect players that do it, man. Like my mindset on it is for players. I want the players to get paid as much money as possible. For me, like NFL needs to have guaranteed contracts. They need to figure that out. They need to pay these players because like you're playing a game like for gladiators.
Oh, it's literally these owners and stuff. They make money. I mean, pretty much the league because it's everything's profit shared.
Yeah,
but it's paved in blood, sweat, and tears.
Seriously, it's literally. Think about this: you got 300-pound dudes running full speed at each other and crashing into one another.
Yeah,
head first.
Yeah,
this car collisions every snap of the play, pretty much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So these dudes batter their bodies and they batter their heads and collect as much money as possible. Yes, but that the players that get out while they still have their decency, and like think about it, like football players like professional football players, they've been doing this all their lives since they've been peewee little kids. Like
most of them, yeah.
And
who knows what they have
exactly. And as little kids, you're not obviously going to get as hurt as you would as a grown ass man because they're just not physically that strong yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But still, like peewee, and then you're doing Pop Warner, and then you're doing middle school, and then high school, JV,
varsity,
varsity, college, and then NFL, and you're taking
that's
that
a lot of wear and tear.
Pounding, like consistently, man. Like I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
It's insane. It's actually I think it's more insane. Do you see how long some of these guys' careers end up going too? Like it's amazing how guys like Brady are playing well into later in age than a lot of other players. Brett Favre lasted a long time. Drew Brees and so many others. These guys, they have these long careers, and it's truly remarkable. And cool to see that guys can stay healthy like that. Like Brady, aside from that injury in 2008, he's hardly been hurt. Yeah, because
Brady don't get touched. The NFL protect that.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, they protect that motherfucker.
That too, and I'll hearsay. It is a little bit of hearsay. I agree, but a little bit of hearsay. But I mean, he's in a good offensive scheme where he barely gets touched.
That's a fact.
True too.
Get rid of that ball. You got 2 seconds to hit Brady.
Yeah,
that ball is gone.
He's got 3 running backs. Right.
Seriously.
They were operating a 2 wide receiver, 3 running back set where he's got protection
all over the
no
field.
No matter where he goes. And don't quote me on that. They really don't do that, but it certainly seems like it, man.
They definitely run that 2 tight end scheme. I think they run it the most over the last 5 years. They ran the most 2 tight end schemes or something like that. Yep. I think Baltimore was like 3rd or 2nd or 3rd or something like that.
Yeah,
but
last year Indy was pretty high too on it, but yeah, it was just smart for protecting your guy having like check down checked a guy, and the Patriots guys like they'll get like a 5-yard check down and turn it like a 15-yard run. Like, it's ridiculous.
You don't have no kids, right? Not yet.
Not yet, no.
Will you, when you do have children, if you have a son or even a daughter, do you think you'll let them play football?
That's an excellent question. I think I would. I definitely would. I mean, I'm gonna probably be more wrestling first, like wrestling first. But I would let if they decided to do wrestle or football. I wouldn't push them. I would guide them.
Right.
But I would let them try if they took a liking to it. I'd encourage it. But if the injuries mounted, got to be too much, it'd be like that. That's a wrap. It's not worth it. Of course, everybody's always one bad injury away from forever being done with anything. But yeah, I would definitely encourage it. Give it a shot. I think kids should be involved in as many sports as they possibly can as they're younger.
I agree.
Despite the injury risks, every sport has a big injury risk.
That's a fact.
Just football, I think, is more spotlighted than any other one. Just more media attention. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would push my kids to do as many sports as they can. It's so important, man. Kids these days, don't even get me started on it.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I was thinking about that myself. I don't have no kids myself, and don't plan on having any in the near future. But when I do have children, I was like, yo, would I let my son or even my daughter, if she wanted to play football, will I let them play football? And I was like, I don't know. Like the risk to reward factor on it. Like obviously, like football, I think you can learn a great deal with it, like leadership, teamwork, competition in general. You know what I'm saying? You definitely pick up some good qualities from it.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, like the injuries, like the head trauma that can happen from it, like they can break something or whatever it may be. So I was like, I don't know, but I think if like push came to shove, I think I would lean towards it. Like if they showed an interest in it, and it's like, yo,
you gotta encourage them. I mean, when they're kids, just about anything, if they express an interest, whether it be a sport, art, whatever, you have to encourage them to try it at 100%. Yeah. But yeah, got to be worried about it too. Of course, always. You don't want to see their future just destroyed because you pushed them too hard,
right?
In anything, especially a physical sport like football.
Seriously, I like what you said about wrestling, though. I think that's one of the main things I'm gonna push my kids towards is some type of form of martial arts, especially wrestling.
Yeah,
like wrestling is one of the like UFC, like MMA fighters in general. Like you could look at UFC and you look at all like the UFC champions. They all have like a background in wrestling.
Yeah,
like they're all like world class wrestlers. And I didn't realize how important wrestling was like that, how it could be.
So important. I mean, if you could take a guy down, that's where you want to get. If you're in a legit fight on the street.
That's how a fight usually ends.
That's how it usually
ends on the ground.
You get a guy on the ground, right? Yep. You're not just standing up there punching each other. It usually doesn't work out too well. Once in a while, you get a world star, one hitter quitter.
World star.
But, 9 times out of 10, it's wrestling. Grounding the guy, put him to sleep. Mm-hmm. That's just how. I mean, I've never been in a fight personally, but I've watched enough World Star hip hop videos to know that that's where it usually ends up, amongst other things. And you see it in the UFC all the time. The guys with the best wrestling game, look
Khabib.
Khabib was amazing.
He's a fucking monster. He just had a fight this past weekend.
Yeah,
and it's the same. Every Khabib fight is the same shit. You're gonna line up. They're going to fill each other out. He's going to throw a double jab or some type of combo, and he's going to shoot your legs.
Yep.
You're on the ground. He pins you down. He's beating your ass for the rest of the round. Round over. Next round happens again.
Yeah.
This shit is crazy.
It's insane. I just watched the fight last weekend. I was wildly entertained.
Yes.
By it. But Brock Lesnar's another case, though, too. Brock Lesnar doesn't, he wrestling freak. He didn't really have a great ground game necessarily. Like he wasn't the best striker,
right, by
any means at all, but he could wrestle and he could put guys in the positions that he wanted them to be. So yeah, I as a former high school wrestler, I highly encourage getting your kids into wrestling. Give it a shot. It's exhausting. It's hard work. There's a lot of discipline that goes with it. It's a little. I'm not going to say it's safer than football by any means, but man, it's just the workouts are so tough and. Yeah, it's very, very spiritually rewarding.
Every athlete that I ever talked to that did multiple different sports, like whether it be wrestling, football, basketball, baseball, they played all of them. They say that wrestling is definitely the most gruesome in terms of trying to get in shape for.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you're actually competing in it, they say it's the most gruesome. Like it's literally like how many minutes is it in the match?
It's
like
2 minute. High school is like 6 minute matches.
Okay, there was like I was talking to my uncle about it. my late Uncle Howard, rest in peace. He's telling me like, yo, you're going at it